While waiting, he was accidentally kicked. The kick could revive a 20-year-old stroke. He got up and took out a paper. So he clutched the paper and attempted a counterattack, but still couldn't handle Awei's punch that could rival Newton's laws of motion. Once the chubby guy was out of the way, chaos ensued. Thus Awei began his violence for violence act. On TV, he saw two thugs break into a home, commit indecent acts, and beat the homeowner severely when he tried to stop them. The thugs not only paid no compensation, but bribed the court to reject victims' claims, threatening their family, leaving Awei sighing. Awei rushed to the victim's home on hearing this, finding two thugs watering the window. Awei blocked the window with a wooden plank and launched an attack on the thugs. The next day, he stumbled upon a new story about sexual assault that made him see red. A male doctor assaulted a female patient, wasn't arrested, and still keeps his medical license. This enraged Awei, who rushed to the hospital. Just as the male doctor was about to make his move on the anesthetized patient, Awei slammed him down onto the table. Then he injected the doctor with an extreme dose of anesthesia, causing him to lose consciousness in an instant. The chain of events caught the attention of reporter Jinjai. If these heinous acts were broadcasted on TV, the ratings would skyrocket, just as she suspected. Once the news was out, it instantly garnered massive public support, and they even dubbed Awei as the underground judge. To maintain this momentum, Jinjai conducted an in-depth study of Awei's actions and found that he mostly punished wrongdoers on weekends. She told her team to get ready for a live broadcast, but after weeks, Awei still didn't appear. The team got ready for live streaming, but after 2 weeks of waiting, they had yet to gather any intel on Awei, raising everyone's anxiety level. Jinjai suddenly came up with the plan to lure Awei out using the Xi'an case from 7 years ago, but unexpectedly, Kyo Gyucheng's identity was exposed. Not only did Awei not arrive, but Xi'an was again endangered. Kyo Gyucheng, disguised as a deliveryman, arrived at Xi'an's store. This led him to cross paths with patrolling police, who noticed his sneaky demeanor and ordered him to open the delivery box for inspection. As the saying goes, shorter blade, greater risk. Kyo Gyucheng drew a knife, but police acted swiftly. The commotion from the fight alerted Xi'an, and the moment she opened the door, Kyo Gyucheng yanked her out. She screamed for help while the police struggled to hold him down from behind. In chaos, Xi'an freed herself and fled downstairs, but Kyo Gyucheng caught up as she neared the first floor. Just as it appeared that the girl's life was hanging by a thread and about to end, Awei suddenly showed up and delivered a powerful kick that sent Kyo Gyucheng tumbling to the ground. At the same moment, Jinjai, having received the news, rushed over, but by the time she arrived, Awei had already left. Next, Awei will pursue Bio, whose crime sent chills down the spine. A stout nightclub girl pulled the man aside and asked if he wanted to try some colorful flavors. This guy was no ordinary contender. Not only was he a murderer, but he was also a cop, and he certainly didn't have time for flirting. He was too busy staring at Bio across the way, who was not a guy to mess with. 3 years ago, had robbed with 2 other guys and ended up with fatality. 3 years ago, he and 2 accomplices robbed a convenience store, resulting in the death of the owner and even 2 7-year-old kids. When the tragedy struck, since the other 2 perpetrators were minors, Bio shifted all the blame onto them, and he got off with just 2 years and 6 months. Today was the first day Bio was out of prison, and instead of showing remorse, he boasted to his underlings about how the law couldn't touch him. The girls saw Awei staring at Bio and thought he was there to buy some flyer, dragging him into the hallway. Awei needed some time to hatch his plot, only coming back to his senses the next day. But this did not affect his determination to deal with Bio. After several days of following Bio, he discovered that the drug money was stashed in a rundown shack. "That's my stuff, hands off," Awei exclaimed, tossing the money to the ground in front of Bio. He ignited the gasoline. Bio, undaunted, attacked Awei with metal. Despite his tough name, he was quickly defeated. After receiving only a few punches, Bio felt extremely dizzy. Awei took advantage of the opportunity, wrapped the metal object around his neck, and hung him from the pipe rack on the roof, delivering punch after punch with great force. At that moment, Bio finally came to his senses, but all he saw was Awei's fist coming. Let him understand. Awei landed several hard punches, sending Bio's consciousness into a hazy state. Awei had no interest in Bio's confessions and simply choked him out against the pipe. The next day, his death caught the police. The police believed handling criminals was their job, and the underground judge had no right to kill, so they formed a special task force to catch this underground judge. Leader Liu Neng can bend a coin with one finger and move a blocking motorcycle barehanded. Awei faces a tough opponent. The task force started a large manhunt, finding the cop weren't the real underground judge. Meanwhile, Awei saw on TV that his beloved grandmother was hit and killed, igniting a fierce rage in his heart. Just an hour earlier, the old lady was on her way home after collecting recyclables when, having blocked a BMW car, the owner, in a fit of rage, simply drove straight through. Bystanders couldn't watch any longer and stepped in to intervene, only for the driver to throw a punch their way. The police arrived and took the driver into custody, but the Good Samaritan was arrested too, even though it was clear that the driver committed murder. Of course, the driver was guilty of manslaughter, but the court labelled it as an unfortunate accident. After seeing all of this, Awei was burning with rage and vowed to take revenge for his grandmother. Meanwhile, Leader Liu Neng anticipated that Awei would go after the driver, so he ordered his team to keep a 24-hour watch. But Awei was no fool. He created false traffic incident reports to mislead the police and stealthily crept into the ward.